Hey guys, I've recorded this like twice already, so hopefully this time it works better. I was talking to you guys about researching. Yeah, my picture didn't come. There you go. There you go. So I'm not in your way. So we're going to talk a little bit about researching today. We're going to talk about some of the things that you need to think about as you are researching your science topic. At this point, before you watch this video, you've probably gotten your science topic. So I want to kind of walk you through the 5 steps of researching in this research process. So that's kind of what you see on the screen right now. So we're going to kind of walk through that today. And I'm going to use a different a subject matter because I don't want to use a subject that you're already doing. So, okay. So first of all, there are 5 steps to good research, and we're going to talk about those today. First of all, the first thing you do is you have your topic. You have your topic, you know what you're going to be doing, you know you're going to be researching. So now it's to the point where you need to go out and you need to research on the internet. And so the big thing is how do you know what is good information and how do you know when you have good information? Because there's a lot of stuff out there on the internet that isn't always true. So we've got to make sure that we focus on those websites that are pretty accurate. So let's say I'm going to research something. So let me think. I'm going to think about, no, you know what? I'm going to do something completely different. I'm going to do Titanic. If you don't know much about the Titanic disaster, it's probably one of those more famous disasters in our history. So let's say that is going to be my research project. Yours is not going to be Titanic, so that's why I decided to do that one. So let's go back here. So the first thing that we're going to do is we need to make sure we clarify what information that we are looking for. Okay. And when you clarify, when you're being specific on what you're actually looking for, you want to brainstorm keywords to kind of help you search for those particular questions that you may have. So it's kind of like making like a mind map or like a little brainstorming thing. So, when you think about the Titanic, when you think about the Titanic, you think about all the different the keywords that you could research or questions that you would have about this particular topic. So, questions like what caused a disaster? When did it happen? And these are just questions that I'm popping off at the top of my head about the Titanic disaster. What were the effects of maybe history of Okay, so again, I'm just kind of brainstorming some ideas that would work well into my research paper that I would write on the Titanic. And so as you're thinking of those questions, then you want to kind of think about, okay, what are some out of these, 5 different questions or 4 different questions that I've created, what are some keywords that I would use to search in my Google search? So, you could, where's my highlighter? What caused the disaster? When did it happen? The effects of it, the history of the Titanic. So keywords or phrases that would help you with your search of this particular topic that you have. So once you go back and you think about those different things, brainstorming your keywords, then you're going to get ready to actually hit the internet and look for your information for your research. Now, here's the big deal. Some websites are not going to be legit. So you have to be careful with what search engines and information you're getting. So if you're not listening to me at all right now, this is really important. Number 2 is super important, okay? When you are researching, you want to make sure you just kind of hit those important keywords Sometimes you might even want to put quotation marks around the particular thing that you're looking for, because then that means that that particular phrase will have to be in that article that you're looking for. So if I was going to do a search on the Titanic, I would want to put, maybe I was going to look up the history of it first. So building of the Titanic, and I would put it in quotation marks, because then that right there, the building of the Titanic, would have to be in that particular order in an article. Okay, so when you are researching, you want to think about the search engines that you use. Now, you can easily use Google. You can use Google research. You could use Yahoo if you want to. Bing is another one that's popular. But there are other search engines out there to use. I have 3 up above me. Oh, my lights went off. It's okay. I have 3 right above me. Kiddle.com is an easy research engine to use. Kidrex.org, you could use it as well. And kidsearch.com is another kind of kid-friendly search engine as well. You don't have to necessarily do Google, Bing, that sort of thing. You can easily go up there and use some of those too. So I'm going to go ahead and use Kiddle. And so I'm going to pop over to my internet real fast. And I'm going to get on Kiddle. You can see it's on Yahoo, but I'm going to get on Kiddle.com. Okay. If it works. If it doesn't work, then we'll go somewhere else. Okay, so this is Kiddle. Where's my search bar? It froze on me. There it goes. Okay, so I'm going to use Kiddle.com as my search engine. I haven't been here for a while, so it's taking a minute to load. And it sent me to Amazon. That was awesome. Okay, let's go ahead and just do Google. We can still do it with Google. Okay, Kiddle's another one. For some reason, it's not working real well, but we'll go ahead and use Google. So this will be the search engine that we'll use. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to put the keywords in. So remember, let's see, where was I? I was using building of the Titanic. So we're going to go ahead and put that in the internet search. I don't want that. What the heck? Sorry, guys. I keep talking to myself. So building of, and I'm going to put it in quotation marks. Building of the Titanic. Okay. I'm going to hit enter. And then it's going to pop up all of the research that it comes up with. Now let me move my little person over here so you aren't distracted. Okay. So here's the thing, and this is a perfect example. So when it pops up all of the different research, okay, do not be like, oh, look at all this stuff, and go to the very first thing you see. Because if you go to the very first thing you see, look what you find. It's Titanic ship models. Well, that's not what you're researching. You're not researching the building of the Titanic. You're not researching a model of the ship. You're researching the history of the ship. So you don't want to pick the first 2 things you see, or first 3 or 4. You also want to be careful. Let me go back here. You also want to be careful with, what does the URL look like? Does it look reliable? If it says gov.gov and .edu, chances are it's a pretty reliable source, because that means it's a government site or it's an education site. So those are really kind of important. You want to think about, okay, where does the URL, does it have URL? Does it have gov or does it have edu? So if I go back to my research page right here, you're going to notice, look here, here's the URL. It's in green. Most of them will be in green. This is Kohl's.com. I'm not shopping for Titanic right now. So this would not be a website that I would use. So I would not use it. You would not want to click on that. This one is about model ship Titanic, like making models. I wouldn't want to click on that either. It says Amazon. What would be the point in that? So as you keep scrolling down, you're going to see they'll probably have a little blurb here about construction of the Titanic began on March 31st, 1909. Ooh, that sounds like something that we would probably need to know. And if you look at the URL, it says mollybrown.org. Remember, org and edu are edu, gov. Org means organization. So that might be something that might be reliable. It might be something that you can look at. Let's keep scrolling and see if we find some more. Oh, we found pictures. Pretty cool pictures. And then this is the building of the Titanic. This is Google Sites. The ship that Belfast built, which is where it was built. So again, you can see this one is a nationalgeographic.org website. I would probably pick that as one of my references just because National Geographic is pretty well-known information. Probably wouldn't go with Pinterest. So again, you just kind of have to keep sifting through these things to get the best URLs. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up this one just because it's National Geographic. We're going to click on it. And it's taking a while. But again, as you click on it, you can scroll through and you can, whoops. Let me sign out of that. Ignore, it's got a lot of pop-ups. Some websites will probably have a lot of pop-ups. This one has a video. I'm not going to show you the video and then it has your background information here. And then it has some articles you can link to if you want to know more. So you can find any information you want. So this one says about the Titanic that it was constructed in 1909 in Belfast. The ship was finished in 1912. So boys and girls, don't just believe everything you see in one website, okay? So please make sure that you kind of cross-reference when you're diving into this information, which is our next point. When you're diving into the information, when you're delving into it, I want you to make sure that you are evaluating the articles. You can't believe everything you read. So you want to make sure you kind of cross-check your information with 2 or 3 other sources to make sure that it's factual, okay? So with that being said, this says the Titanic was in 1909. It was finished in 1912. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back up to my search engine. I'm going to go back to Google. Excuse me. And again, if this isn't like, I don't feel like I have the best information, so maybe you go back up and you change your wording. Maybe building of the Titanic wasn't the best. Maybe I should put history. Whoops. Jeesh. Maybe I should put history of the Titanic. And then try it and see what I come up with. I might come up with something completely different, something completely better. Wikipedia always seems to pop up. I probably wouldn't pick Wikipedia to be one of my research points because people can change Wikipedia's information. So I would probably not do that one. So this one is the history. This is a WHOI-EDU, remember, education website. So this looks like it could be possibly a really good one. So I'm going to click it. We're going to see what we come up with. So again, I'm going to cross-reference, well, was it started in 1909 and did it get completed in 1912? I want to make sure that information is factual. So it says 1907, White Star Line manager, the shipbuilder, continuing to create. They were publicized. It says its maiden voyage was on March 20th. And again, you're just going to have to go through and it's going to take a while to get adequate research and good research when you're researching your topic. So again, I'm looking to cross-check to make sure that that date, 1909 to 1912, is accurate. And it says it was the Titanic in 1909 was started, so that was accurate. I found that information. So now I need to figure out if it was finished, when it was actually finished. And I haven't found that information yet to make sure that it's true. But chances are, if this website is factual, it's an EDU one, chances are this is probably pretty good. It says the journey began in 1912. That really didn't help us to figure out when it was actually, this is 1911. So maybe it wasn't 1912. Maybe it was 1911. See, that's why you've got to make sure you've got to go through and check your information. Okay. Okay, real quick. The next thing that you want to do is the fifth thing, and that is the citing of your information. So when you are pulling all your information and putting it into your slides or your research paper, you want to make sure that you're putting it in your own words. That is super, super, duper, duper, duper important, okay? You don't want to be caught copying someone else's research, someone else's words. You want to make sure that you're putting it in your own words. So, when you get something, you find something, make sure that you're not just copying it down word for word. Make sure you're using your own words and your own thoughts in what you're going to put in your research paper, because that's called plagiarism, and you can get in big trouble with that when you go into college and even in high school. So please make sure that you're putting everything in your own words and your own information. Okay, so I think that is our big crash course in researching. So if you have any questions, you are more than welcome to ask me anytime you want to. You can email me or dojo me or whatever. But this is kind of your little crash course in researching. So as you're researching this week with your topic, I want you to make sure that you think about, all these 5 steps as we go through them. Okay, make sure that you are looking for legit websites and not just focusing on the first 2 or 3 that you see. And make sure that you're cross-checking, cross-referencing all of your sources to make sure that you have legit factual information, okay? All right, so this is our research crash course numero uno. So hopefully this helps you out as you start your research projects this week. Yay! I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. I'm excited. All right, well, I will see you, and I will let you guys go, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.